Welcome back to Dubsy Bricks and another episode of Building Jabba'S Palace. So last week we worked on the Rancor, getting him all ready, or getting as much of it done as possible. This week we went to the Lego store, picked up 3 pick-a-brick cups. So we've got a whole load of the 2x8 plates. We picked up some 8x8 plates in light bluish grey. But we also picked up 1,000 plus of these 1x2 nougat plates. And what we've done with these is we've started scattering them on the floor here to break up the dark tan. And I'm considering doing the same in the Rancor pit and also the hangar. See how it looks. If it looks better, we'll keep it. If not, we'll just convert it back to how it is at the moment. Speaking of the hangar, we were previously mentioning about raising it up so we could have the door dropping down behind it. However, after watching a bit of the Book of Boba Fett, we realised that that wouldn't be accurate to the film. The hangar is quite a bit lower than the towers that we're going to be building on there. So regrettably, the hangar will be there without a functioning door on the entrance of there. We may have to work out some sort of structure to go across the top here to help support the roof, but the roof is what we're going to be concentrating on in this episode. And we want to have some sort of like technical structure that goes across, which will give us some sort of curve. And I'm thinking about using Technic bricks and then having 4x wide plates that go across and they just slightly change angle as they go across. How difficult that's going to be, we're not sure, but we're up for the challenge. All we've got to do is see what Technic bricks we've got to start with, find out if it's possible, and then work out if we need to order any in or how we're going to go about doing so. So I'm going to be using these parts here to try and make a curved roof on there. So they'll be going along and we just change the angle very slightly to each one. However, we can't have it so they're touching like that, because when we come to put the plates on, obviously they'll be blocking each other. So I need to make sure that I put the plates onto these whilst I'm prototyping, so I know that they're going to be able to touch each other, and possibly even a second plate, because if I end up tiling this to have a nice smooth finish, I need to make sure that that's been pasted into account. So just need to think about all of these little details before we start, because what we don't want to be doing is getting to the end, have the construction all made, and then think, go to put the final details on, be unable to do so. And here we have 11 of these sections made, and they'll curve over all the way to here. So what we now need to do is build some sort of like framework going across so we can then hang these from and make them all go over. I've got to decide how I'm going to cover the ends up on here, because obviously we don't want that to be showing. So whether or not we just do a straight line across here in the wall, so you can only see the curve when you're peering through, I'm not sure yet, but we'll cross that bridge a little bit later on. But now what we need to do now is just try and work out how we're going to support them all. So we've built the walls up a little bit more on both sides here. So as you can see, we put an archway in just there. And the reason I've done that, I wanted to put a support structure in here for the roof to go on top of. And what I've done, I've put where this is 2 bricks wide, I've stepped that back by 1 brick. And all I can do, I can put some sections in here to block it off so that it's you won't be able to see through here unless you take those side panels out. So they're just going to be on pull out, no mechanism or anything, it's just going to slide into place. And I just need to extend this by 1 brick either side. So you push in there and it won't fall in basically. So yeah, now we've got the 2 sections there all done, we can now start working on the roof. One thing we are going to have to do is work on the ends here, because they're going to need to be arched somehow. Not sure how big an arch, whether or not we can just get away with using these sort of things, I'm not sure. It'd be quite good if we could, but I'll just refer back to sort of like some images online and see what it's like. But yeah, let's get that roof on there, or the structure should I say. And we have the first central strut going through there, so we're now going to try and build them out to the sides. As you can see, it's quite the multicoloured section here, and it's yeah, looking quite good so far. It's probably going to need a lot more strengthening up across the top there, but once we've worked out exactly how we're going to get that curve shape inside, we'll then carry on building this up, and then we'll make sure it's nice and strong, so that when we build across here, ready for the towers to go on the top, it's all good to go. But yeah, pleased with the progress so far. And the Technic structure is continuing, and it's coming on really well. As you can see, we've used some of these owl-shaped Technic beams on the end here, T-shaped one to hold the centre part in place. And we've also put some flex tube just through there. But if we come down here, you can see there's just a very gentle curve on the roof there. And the far end hasn't been sort of like manipulated by the flex tubing yet, so that will be more like this end once we've got it done. And I'm hoping that when it comes down, it's going to curve down to around about this section here. And here is a progress update, and it is really coming on. So pleased with how this is looking so far. The structural side of this, I'm not sure how much weight we can put on top of it at the moment. It's only got a couple of beams, but there is a little bit of movement there, so I am going to need to strengthen that up somewhat. If we go inside, you can see the nice curve on there. It's coming on really well. We do need to plate it and tile it up, but overall I couldn't be happy with that. And I've still got to put the flex tubes through here, more of them all the way down, just to help keep it in line. But we'll do that once we've sort of like plated off, because we might have to take all of this out to plate it up. And it's all of these sections here are just clipped in using these Technic L joints or the straight down ones. So it's been a little bit of trial and error to get the curve on there, but overall it's been really good. But yeah, what we're going to do now, we're going to peel this entire roof section off now, and I want to bring it over by one stud. And the reason being is I don't want to be looking at these Technic bricks from the side here. So if I move it over by one, I can then build another wall across the side there and hide that all behind it. And as you can see, we've put the side wall on the hanger there. So we put that all the way up and it's connected to this part of here now, the framework. So that's all good. On this side, again, we had to bring the wall out by one brick. So it is now connected to this base plate. So that's one thing we were avoiding doing last time in case we raised the hanger up. But it was definitely a case of not being able to raise the hanger up, as I mentioned before. What I'm going to concentrate on now is continuing to build up some more of the support structure along here, because we have got some more of the bricks, some more of the 2x2 bricks, and I've obviously got some more of these plates from the pad wall. So yeah, we'll build a little bit more of that up and see what we can get done there. But yeah, let's carry on doing that part. And a little bit more progress has been made on the structural side at the back there. As you can see, we've built it up all the way along here now, and we've done another whole layer across the top pretty much. At the back, sorry. So I think I've just used close to 500 2x2 bricks and about 150 of the 2x8 plates. So this mock is just swallowing the filler brick and filler plate up. It's like nobody's business. So if I come around here, you can sort of like get a good idea of the sort of like structural side of it. So I'm thinking the palace is probably going to come back to around about there. So I could then start doing the rock face down, which is why there's the straight line of the filler brick and filler plate down along that edge. The rock work will come out slightly here, so that is one thing that we can start working on soon. But we need to also work on this section just down here as well, the archway going into the hangar. Now that I've built a bit more of this structure up here, I've decided that we need to carry on with the mechanisms here, ready for the trapdoor, but also so that the throne can actually move forward. Jabba'S throne itself is going to start around about here, and we'll obviously need to cover up the trapdoor, and come to around about here. So it's going to need to slide along a fair bit. I don't want there to be any holes in the floor runners that you can see in front of the palace, in front of the throne, So I'm not sure if this is something I'm going to be able to do right now, whether I'm going to have to wait until I've actually started building it to work out exactly how I'm going to do it. But what I do need to do, and I've been putting this off, is making it so that I can turn this lever here, which at the moment is just there, needs to be at the front here, so I somehow need to get it all the way around there. So I found a couple of cogs that you can sort of like turn around 90 degrees and work, so we're going to see what we can do, and yeah, we'll take it from there, but let's get to it. And the fun begins, and we have got a misalignment somewhere, and I'm struggling to see where it is. As you can see, these plates here go across, and that's resting on that brick there. However, if I was to come across on this one here, it's going uphill very slightly, and I can't see why. The way that I've built this is all uniform. So we have 5 bricks, 2 plates, 5 bricks, 2 plates, and so on, all the way up. I've continued that all the way here. So there's no reason whatsoever why this should not be lining up. But it does seem to be coming up. This side over here is absolutely fine. That's square to that. So yeah, at a total loss as to what's gone wrong here, but something's not quite right. So we've had to pull the entire mock table away, so I can now push the mock right back to that side so I can get a closer look at it from behind. But yeah, very frustrating. I thought the way we were building this, we were not going to have this trouble at all. And yeah, here we are, straight away, having problems. All good fun. And we found the culprit just here. So basically underneath this cross section, if I just pop that up to where it's naturally supposed to be, there's 5 bricks and there should have been a plate underneath it. Now when I was building this mock, I couldn't walk all the way around it. I could only stand from that side. Obviously the back cave was taking up the majority of the room. That's been pushed up against that wall now, so I've got a little bit more room. So what's happened, I was leaning over here, obviously forgot to put 1 plate in, and then it messed it all up. So it's really handy now that I've been able to, I can get behind the mock here. It's a simple fix, and now hopefully it's all going to be straightforward. But yeah, lesson learned there. Pay more attention. But anyway, let's get that rectified, get this section built back up, and then work on the cogs. So we need to get it going down that way. And here we are back with the technic side of things. So previously we were going to have it that this trapdoor was operated at the end here. So we just a lever, pull down, trapdoor opens, gate drops, and that was it. However, we've extended the mock by 1 base plate. So it was going to be way too long. I don't know how I'm going to be finishing that off there, so I didn't want to leave it and then struggle with that at the end. So I thought what we're going to do, we're going to make it so we operate it from the front here. Now, how this all works, for those that haven't seen it before, we've got 2 cogs here which operate the runners here, which is what the gate is attached to at the bottom. These have only just got like 3 long axles in between these 2 Technic bricks. At the back here, we've got this cog here, which is on an axle to one of them exactly the same. So when one cog moves here, that axle there makes the other one do exactly the same thing. So we'll all bring these up exactly the same time. This cog here is the one that's going to be operating it all. So this will turn that cog, which in turn turns that cog, which in turn turns those cogs, which makes that come up and go down. So this cog goes along, axle, joiner, axle, and then another cog here. This cog has got a slight curve to it, which enables you to put another one at a 90-degree angle of the same style. So then we've got an axle, joiner, axle, joiner, axle, joiner, axle, joiner, axle, and then the lever. So when we turn the lever, the gate goes up and the gate goes down. And that will also, as I mentioned before, will operate the trapdoor as well. The one problem we've had, and I didn't realise, I could have used this cable, this axle here, and I did try it. However, these are so flexible, I didn't realise how much they can actually twist without motion. I mean, if you look at this here, how much movement I've got there, and how little action is going on those cogs down the end. And even the smaller axles that are like 12 long, they can still twist a little bit. So what I'm contemplating doing are using possibly 4 long axles and joiners the whole way along there, just to try and keep it as stiff as possible, be as little movement as possible. It's going to be using a lot more parts, obviously, but I think it's going to help with the actual mechanism on there. All of this here will be changed. I've just put this in here because I wanted to make sure that I could make everything work properly. And I could possibly tuck it over here so it's closer, putting it right on this part here. So we're just working on this area here, and although I can't build out over the top of this yet until we've got the arches, I can concentrate on this section. And I want to do so I can put the cogs and, the axles all the way along this wall here. So I need to build this up. Now originally I was just going to put a wall here concealing all of that, and then there was going to be an archway here so you could sort of like see into the corridor bit from this angle. However, I want to make it so that if you are looking up this way or from here, you get a realistic look of whatever you might see in the palace, sort of thing. So although there's going to be you're not actually physically going to be able to get to it, I just want it so any chance of you seeing it, you don't see sort of like multicolored bricks or nothing basically. So there's supposed to be stairs there, they will be there. So what we're going to do, we're just going to build this wall up here. I'm going to have a wall here, and then this section here will be another room. So the kitchen will be here and it'll go round to the corner there. There'll be an archway at the back of the room there, and there'll be another archway here, so the stairs will then be going up there as well. So that's the plan. So the idea, let's get this section done here so I can just build those walls along, and then we'll put a little bit of a floor over this section as well, because we can get to this part, and it's just this section here that we can't build on top of. But yeah, let's carry on building, and we'll check back in once we've got a little bit more done. And there we have all the axles and connectors all the way through to the cogs at the end there, which then take us to the trapdoor. And just to pan out to show you the motion on there, it is a lot better now, so it's moving very smoothly. So what we're going to do now is plate off the top of this, and just checking in one final time for this update. And we've managed to get this all enclosed here now, so the mechanism here for doing the trapdoor is all working in there. We obviously haven't got the trapdoor on there yet. We're going to wait until we've put the roof on the rancor pit, so we need to concentrate on this section here, which hopefully will be next week's job. It'd be nice to get a lot of that done. The only thing I'm a little bit concerned about is the door, how I'm going to be doing that, and whether or not we're going to have that as a working mechanism. So again, that's something we've got to decide upon. But next week, hopefully, it'll be a case of working on the actual throne room, or the starts of that as well. So get the rancor pit done, sort of like all the rest of the rock work done, get the door frame in, and then decide whether or not we're going to have a working door on there. And I think it would be quite nice to have that. I think it'd be a good feature to have on this mock. So there's plenty to get on with next week. So looking forward to that. And next week we'll have so many more bricks available to us, because the back cave will, fingers crossed, be destroyed by then. The hangar is so pleasing. I'm just so chuffed with how that has come out. The technical side of it and how much of a mess that looks, I just love it. I think it's all of the detail in there and how it's been constructed. I'm really chuffed with how that's come up. And the arch inside of it looks really good as well, I think. We do need to put some sort of like, I think some poles that go across the roof, just sort of like from there to there, and then they hang down as well. So I need to look at getting those finer details put in. But yeah, there it is. So I hope you've enjoyed this update. As I said, it's one of those updates where you look at the mock and you can visually see big changes. I mean, if I sort of show you a couple of pictures from the beginning of the episode to the end of the episode, you can see there's a lot of changes there. So anyway, as I said, hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give us a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel. Share it with as many people as possible, be much appreciated. And hit that notification bell to be kept up to date with any future content on the channel. Anyway, thanks for popping on by. See you next time. Bye for now.